Hey,
Hello.
Alex.
Hey, Michael, how you doing?
Oh, craving some coffee, man. I'm dragging this week.
I'm so sorry, but this coffee is really good, hitting the spot.
So, the intro this week was not meant to be crazy, but I'm going crazy. It's been a rough one for me. I mean, I'm not sure how everybody else is doing, but I really hope this will be of some value today. We've got some great things to talk about. And with that being said, how are you this fine morning, Mr. Mick Jagger? I'm sorry, Alex McDonald.
Well, we got a beautiful sunset behind us, and I got a good cup of coffee and a good friend here. And my wife actually made me a half a cake for my half birthday, so I can't complain. Life is good.
Bro, I'm super jealous.
We'll save some of the cake for you. I know we'd love to share with you.
I mean, I can't come over and get it, but I mean, I'll meet you at a gas station and we'll like hand it over with like some tongs or something.
Yeah, we'll be like cops and pull up next to each other and talk that way.
Yeah, get some aluminum foil and hand me a rollover, and all of a sudden there's a real cop sitting close by. I can just picture that on the news.
What do you got in the foil?
Sir, I promise you there's nothing hidden in this cake batter. It's just his wife's amazing cooking. So, yeah, this is getting awkward now. I'm a strictly drug-free officer. I promise, no cavity search required. Anyway, so how about those prayer requests, Alex? Any special considerations this week?
Yeah, definitely want to pray for some certain select people. So let's join together in prayer. Let's start with a moment of silence. Dear Heavenly Father, we just come before you and we just want to praise you and glorify you in all that we do. We want to pray for all the teachers, the parents, and the students as they continue to adapt and overcome in new ways of doing school. We want to come together and pray for all the cashiers, the retailers, those that are working in essential jobs, and everyone in the medical field, and just bless them so that they can be healthy and vibrant and doing their job in the best of their abilities, and that they're protected and happy and healthy. And we want to pray for all the citizens and businesses as they struggle through this different time that we're experiencing. We want to personally pray over Adriana, who needs overall motivation and energy at this time, who's been feeling kind of down. Lord, lift her up. We want to pray for Micah for health, wealth, and wisdom. We know every day in every way that we are becoming more healthy, wealthy, and wise, and we just proclaim that. We want to pray for Ezra and the orphanage that he oversees for provision of food and other necessities. We want to pray for Michael for miracles to happen and for him to be uplifted, and this program to be reach others that need a lift up, that need a boost of caffeine in their soul. Just let us to glorify you. We love you and we praise you. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. Thank you.
Good stuff. So today we are going to talk about some pretty awesome information. I think it's going to be of a great value. But before we get into that, I want to mention the coffee of the day today, which is some pretty amazing stuff. Now, I know Ethiopia, but I'm not sure I can pronounce the other one. So we're calling it the Yerg. But the stuff is amazing. It's like this rich and kind of fruity coffee, and yet it's not a sweetened coffee. It's just roasted with some amazingness, some crack cocaine in coffee form. So, while neither conversations over coffee, Alex or myself condone drug use, I hope you understand the humor. And that being said, Alex, please, how about for today's topic? We're going to talk about poverty and financial stress. Take it away, Alex.
Yeah. Well, on the topic of the coffee, though, I just want to say that it's important to support local economies or local businesses
Yes.
because they are the local economy. And so that kind of ties into the poverty and the financial stresses. And
Absolutely.
there's a lot of people that are struggling with that at this current time. And our cups are up to you. And we salute you as you go through this time. We don't want to hear about anybody struggling, and we want to provide information that lifts up all. But let's talk about our past a little bit. Like when I think about poverty and I think about the way that I grew up, man, oh man. So I asked my kids, have you ever had, I knew the answer to this because they've never had it. Have you ever had government cheese or government peanut butter? They're like, what's that? I'm like, so this jar of peanut butter, you open it up and it's got a layer of oil that thick. You stir it and it's still full of oil. You get this block of cheese and no matter what you do, it doesn't melt. And I'm like, that was what we grew up on. And they're like, that doesn't make sense to us. And I'm like, and you'll never have to experience that. So as a kid, there was a time where we lived in my parents' friend's garage. There was me, my mom, my stepdad, my brother, all living in a garage because we had no place else to go. There was a time where we lived in my grandparents' motorhome in my grandparents' backyard. There was times where we would decide just to move across the country just because they couldn't pay the landlord or whatever reason. They wanted new opportunity or whatever. But I remember fourth grade, they had this charity for the poor kids, and they took us to a shoe store and they gave us our very own pair of Riddells. And I'd never heard that brand any place else, any time in history. So I Googled it, and these Riddells, they're just these white plain shoes. And I remember I cherished those shoes so much that I was like washing them every night. I was sleeping with them by my bed. And I was so excited to have those shoes because they meant something to me. Because all the other shoes I got were from Payless and they were really cheap, or they were hand-me-downs from my brother and they had holes in them.
Oh yeah.
And so as a child, I grew up in a form of poverty where there was times we didn't have lunch. There was times where the dinner was really plain and I couldn't complain about it. I had to eat every bit of it. And I know there's people that struggle with absolutely no food, and it breaks my heart to think about that. And there was times where we would kind of experience that, but not to the fullest extent because we had charitable organizations, we had food stamps, we had food, what are those called? Food, like whatever they're called, like places you go, food banks. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So we've always had the opportunity to go and get things that we needed for food, but there was a lot of lack in every other area. And so not just financial poverty, but there was spiritual poverty. There was poverty of not having relationships with others that I would say that I also struggled with. So I experienced that as a kid, and I don't really have the tools in my tool belt to become an adult and be financially successful. So what I learned by watching their example was you get money and you spend that money on things you want. And if you don't have enough money, then you go and borrow the money and you spend more money than you made. And then you got to figure out somehow how to pay that back. And you're always behind from there on. And so I covered in the first episode of Conversations Over Coffee, there was a time where I was homeless. There was many times where I couldn't afford myself and my son's living expenses. And there was many times where I wasn't able to support myself. But now we fast forward to a few years later, and my wife Stephanie and I were supporting a family of 7. And it doesn't make sense to me how just a little bit of tweaks made everything completely different. And so I'm studying different people right now and observing how things are going. And I'm seeing a lot of people that are needing the stimulus check, or else they're not going to be able to eat. They're needing the stimulus check, or they're going to foreclose on their property, or they're going to lose their business. And it breaks my heart. I don't want to see that happen. And so hopefully we can talk through this and we can share some light on what answers they could have.
Well, I got to tell you, man, it's a hell of a story right there. I mean, 7 kids, like, how do you sleep at night? But I mean, on a serious note, I mean, I got to tell you, I'm intrigued. I'd like to hear, like, what did you do to change all that? Because, you know, I'm just me and I'm feeling the pinch. I mean, you have 7 people to think about. What did you do?
Well, there was a time where the economy crashed in 2008 and I had a felony charge in my record, and it was impossible to find a good job. Nobody was going to hire me when they weren't hiring at all. And so I ended up working at the local Burger King. And little did I know that would be one of the best choices I made. So there I met a young man named Eric Barr. And a few years later, he falls in with Christy Cortesano Smith and the Life Leadership Company. And he calls me up after leaving an event, has a moment of courage, and calls me up and says, "Hey, I got something to share with you." He comes over to my house and he slides this green box across my kitchen table and said, "You're tired of struggling, then you need to get this green box." And I said, I don't think so. You're not going to come to my house and try to sell me a product. Like, me buying a product is not going to change my situation. It's going to take money away from me. And then he kept telling me about it as I complained about my financial problems. He kept saying, well, if you get that financial fitness program, I'm going to call it the green box from now on. If you get that green box, it's going to change everything. And so, one, I didn't have the money. Two, I didn't have the belief that it would change anything. And three, I was still very, very skeptical and angry and like a conspiracist. Like I thought everyone was out to get me because I wasn't an honest person myself. And so I started plugging into the meetings that he was going to. I started listening to some of the information, and I decided I was gonna go do some side work, make $200, and buy that green box. And little did I know that green box changed everything. So a little bit over time, I started reading it. I started listening to the audios. I started filling out the workbook and applying the information. But then I also started getting around mentors like Mr. Bill Lewis and Christy Cortizano Smith, Orrin Woodward, and Chris Brady, and learning how to change my thought process from a poverty mindset to an abundance mindset. And what's so crazy now is that you can get this amazing super app that's right here on your phone, and this is included in it. So I paid almost $200 for it, and now it's in a super app that you can pay for at a low fee every month.
Whoa! Like, well, I mean, obviously, I'm curious. I mean, tell me a little bit about this app, because, I mean, $200 is kind of a lot right now, but how affordable are we talking here? I mean, is this something that a lot of people could utilize?
Well, I think it's very pertinent that people take a look at it, because you can take the little bit of money you have and make it go even further. And so it's a $30 subscription each month, but you get the information of this financial fitness program. You get the Rascal Radio. If you're on prescriptions, you get a discount prescription card. You get the ability to pay through the app and get cash back. And you get to use coupons, and you get a marketplace. And each month you get 30 trip credits. And so the average person is getting between $70 to $100 back each and every month. And so let's say, Michael, I give you $5 and you're going to give me back 100. That seems like a fair deal, right?
Sure. Yeah.
In the words of some people, it seems too good to be true, but we can show you person after person that's been using this app. We've gotten $300 cash back, and we don't really shop that much. We don't really go out to many places. We don't go out to eat a lot, but we've been thinking at first, and it's changed everything for us. But let me go kind of back in time. So the founders, Orrin Woodward and Chris Brady, they started building this material and building this opportunity so people can change how much money is going out of their house. So they looked at it. They said there's a lot of people that have money pouring out of their house from inflation, from taxes, and from debt and servicing that debt. And so they said, okay, let's start attacking these pipelines. And so to attack the tax pipeline, they created a business opportunity through a franchise type system, and it reduced their taxes from 30% to 10%. So number one, you're saving 20% of your income now. And then they created the financial fitness program to eliminate that debt pipeline completely. So now 30% of your income staying in your house rather than going out. So people are getting 50% more income staying in their house by just those two parts. But they were looking at it like, okay, that inflation pipeline is killing people, and it's going to be killing people more than ever now that we've inflated the economy with $2.2 trillion more. So the value of our dollar is continuing to go down. So what could we do about that? So they created an app that makes your money go even further. So you can take the app and get between 5 and 20% cash back on every purchase, and it makes your money go further. So it created a viral product that everyone needs and wants, and packages in a whole bunch of other great things that'll help you move forward in different ways. And so it's kind of for everybody, and we can all benefit from it.
Well, that does sound pretty good. I mean, being able to stretch what you have into something more at a relatively low cost. I can understand why people would be a little skeptical, but I mean, I've talked to some of your friends. I've been to a couple of meetings, and I've heard some people talk about how they've used it. And at first, I'm like, how do you use an app to help you in life? I mean, I've heard of Map My Fitness. I've heard of Candy Crush, but how amazing could this be? But then I met a gentleman that has been basically rocking people's houses with this stuff, and he's gotten $800 of cash back in the last, what, 6 months? I mean, $800, that the app more than paid for itself 3 times over. And when
Yeah.
I heard that, I'm like, this guy's for real. And he's here helping other people understand he's not here to sell you some magical membership to Planet Fitness. What he's really talking about is helping people revitalize their financial status. And that made me a little more interested. And that's partly why I wanted us to talk about it today is I really have seen the value myself. And I know that that's something you've tried to help other people come to see because more than anybody, you know what it's like to be down and out and broke and you don't have 2 dimes to rub together sleeping in your car and somehow like you're not even good enough for the lot lizards at the truck stop and somehow now you got an amazing life, a beautiful wife, and you're trying to make something of your family. I think your story is already a success, and I'm excited to see what you do in the future. But I'm just curious, maybe right now due to quarantine, we can't exactly get together. But I mean, how could you help other people if they were curious about it?
Yeah, that's one of the amazing things about this company is we've been able to pivot and we can actually meet on a platform similar to this where we can have a conversation face to face from the safety of our own home. And I can bring up the screen share of this app and show you everything that it has in it.
Sure.
And so to sum it up in just 3 categories, the app helps you to have fun, make money, and make a difference. And so if people are interested in any of those 3 categories, then it's definitely worth looking into. And if you
Yeah.
feel any kind of stress or pressure, whether it's health related, we have products to help with that, or
Hmm.
with financial stress, then we have the resources to help you with that. Then go ahead and reach out to us. You can contact the Conversations Over Coffee page, or you can send me a message on my Facebook page. I'd give out my phone number, but we don't know who's gonna be watching, so we'll be careful there.
Yeah. Don't want the wife asking too many questions about like who's texting you at 10 o'clock at night. So I totally understand. I'm a little leery about handing out my phone number on social media myself, so I can't blame you there. But hey, man, that sounds great. I mean, I really think that's something I could benefit from. And in fact, you've been trying to convince me of that for years, and I'm one of those people. I was a little skeptic myself.
I was too, brother. So there's no shame in that. Just know one of the
Right.
things that changed the most for me was I went from thinking money was just something that you use to buy things you want. And what I learned through going through this program, I learned a whole bunch. There's 47 principles, but one of the key things that changed in my mind was that money is a tool so that you can maximize your purpose in life.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what that meant. So it started saying save 10%. And I was like, but I can't make it on 100%. And it's not like some of the defensive programs out there that says eat ramen only and use 1 ply of the toilet paper at a time and pack your lunch in a paper sack and use that paper sack all week. It's not teaching you that. It's teaching you an abundance mindset. And so when you start thinking about how can I use this money for a bigger purpose, you start using your money a little bit differently. And so
Yeah.
you want to accumulate assets with that money rather than just spending all of it. And that
Well,
didn't make sense to me because nobody told me that before this.
well, yeah. And as I've learned the hard way growing up, that poor is more of a mentality, and nobody believes that when they're poor. Nobody. But
Mhm.
every person who's ever been poor who got out of it has come to see the truth in that. Your habits, how you spend, how you budget. I mean, your attitude on life. It's a mindset, and when you can learn to reprogram. I mean, one of my favorite examples, and he's a little fiery for the kind of audience we're talking to, but his name is Dan Pena, and as he used to tell people, uh, he's literally a billionaire. He lives on a castle on a private island with his own private golf course. I mean, my God, I'm so jealous. But to emphasize his rise to greatness, put it into context. He had literally worked 20-hour days. He couldn't get enough hours, he said, because he was tired of being poor. But he had nothing. He was literally what he called a barrio bad boy. He grew up in the streets of a neighborhood that would become so crack ridden and crime strewn, they would demolish his childhood home because they were dealing drugs in it. It was demolished. his whole childhood destroyed by drugs. And he might have gone down the same path if it wasn't for a couple of things that happened. But all that really matters, the man had $800 and some change to his name. $800. And he turned it into over $450 million in 8 years. From $800 and some change to $450 million in just 8 years. And the amazing thing about Dan Pena, all of the information about how he did it is for free on his website. And when they asked him why, you know what he said? Because I don't want to have any more excuses. The only thing stopping you is you. I don't need the money. I'm doing it for free because I've already done it. It's just what I do. And if we have that same attitude about life, do the best we can, help other people do the same, every one of us can be better off. $800, billionaire, castle, island, golf course. Bro, telling you, he's literally been blessed by the Queen of England. Pretty good to go from the Barrio crack house to the Queen of England, huh? But that being said, let's not get too hung up on Dan Pena because I'll get a little jealous. But we're going to part with a good song for today. And I think that everybody's going to enjoy this one. They're a fantastic little band from England. Their run was short, but the song is beautiful. And before we go, though, we have some parting words. Alex, would you mind talking about our little fundraiser we started?
Yeah, I would love to. So we started a fundraiser that's on GoFundMe. I put the information in the comments. I'm going to bring that up on the screen. And it's Concerned Citizens of Fort Wayne. You can go to GoFundMe and check that out. So we actually have had a couple of people join us and become teammates with us. And one of them actually created this overlay for us. So thank you to Nathan Grepke for not only partnering with us on that, also creating this overlay, helping us through this. And so shout out to Nathan Grepke, shout out to Isaac and Troy, and congratulations to you, Michael, because we were able to raise over $200 and then go and donate $182 to the Community Harvest Food Bank, a local charity organization here. So great job.
And there's a special consideration there. My road back to employment after being on disability my entire adult life actually began volunteering for a church that made weekly trips to Community Harvest. And a combination of helping the church and specifically my friend John, the pastor's wife, who is in poor health, I started to learn little bits about people, Fort Wayne community, the kind of work they do, and how many organizations that are helped by Community Harvest. And I thought there's no better place we can start. And if we can keep the support and donations coming, Alex and our team, we're going to donate to the Veterans Administration. There's a lot of people hurting right now, and every little bit helps. And we're also going to donate to any churches in the area that have a food bank that's in need. Any families that need help can go to these churches and organizations. That's why we're going to the churches or Community Harvest or the VA. They'll help more people more specifically than we can, but we can help them do it. And that's why we decided to do this, because we know a lot of people are hurting right now. And we're just hoping everybody's healthy, everybody stays strong. We're going to get through this. And there is some bright light at the end of this tunnel, but we just got to ride through this tunnel before we get there. And on the way, just remember, support local business. We got a team of guys out here working for you. If you want to help our donation, we'll call you out. We'll give you thanks. We're going to run a mile in support of every person who donates. Every $10 that's given, we'll run another mile. We've already raised over $230. It may not seem like much, but you understand every little bit helps. And if you can't afford to give financially, just know, if you will donate your time, donate some clothes, you tell us you helped an old lady with her shopping cart, we'll run a mile for you. You just let us know. We're here for you. Alex, I'm really glad you gave us this talk today, man. It's a lot of good information. Anybody wants to know more about it, please give Alex a message or reach out to us on our page, Conversations Over Coffee. And with that being said, till next time, next week's topic is going to be...
It's going to be healthy lifestyle.
Yes. And we're not talking about diet culture or anything that makes us have to give up bacon, because I can't do it, okay?
Nope.
I've tried. I tried. Anyway, but that I gotta tell you, it's gonna be a great one. I hope you're enjoying these so far, Alex. I appreciate your help. I couldn't do it without you. Last but not least, let's fade out with that song.
Got it, brother. Great
See you
show.
next
And
week, everybody.
thank you all for tuning in.
I love these guys.
Leave your head. You're trying to figure what you're thinking. It could be nothing. Nothing but a premonition. But it's hard to say. You push it off. That feeling of losing her over words to facts. You gotta let it go. Feeling that only adds weight to your mind. Don't think it over. You'll be alright. Still you sweat over what you could be doing. It's a chemical threat. Is it only the beginning? Did you wake up late? Take a bath, home, right back to you ask. You don't know nothing. You gotta let it go.
I'm telling you, for their age, it is way too much talent for one band.
Feeling that only adds weight to your mind. No.
Great band. Stephanie just busted in there, so she likes it too.
She'll take her time. Making her mind. Sugar, don't think it over. You'll be alright. She'll take her time. Making her mind. Sugar, don't think it over. You'll be alright. You'll be alright.
We
Not
out?
bad for a couple of introverts, huh? Have a good night, man. Great to see you.